Howdy guys, how's it going? So, we are hitting up the Egyptian city of who knows where. I am in no way a Egyptian city historian, if you couldn't tell by the, by the sound of my voice. But, we have got a pretty interesting lineup here. So, I've been experimenting around with different, the different soldiers, the different equipment and such, and we have here a city, and this seems to be the central location for the city, whatever the capital is. So, we've got these people over here left, right, and center trying to storm the capital. And I have got American soldiers with the assault set up, which I'm pretty sure is the Thompson, even though that's still close range, IRL. And then we got our shotgun soldiers. Some of these end up being kind of like on buildings. But then I've also got a Sherman on each, top end. The thing with this, it's hit or miss. I've not tried this yet. But, it'll cancel out certain soldiers depending on where they line up with the structures on the map. So, with that being said, we've got 300. So we have 300,000 zombies versus 6,000 U.S. soldiers from World War II. 3,000 being shotgunners, 3,000 being assault soldiers, which is, I'm pretty sure that's just Thompson wielding soldiers, and then we've got 3 tanks kind of on the edges. So very, very curious to see what happens. Alrighty, so before things really kick off, it cancels out certain soldiers for certain terrain situations. And so we've got 244,400, I'm just going to say 400, of the zombies. And then we ended up just having 5,187 of the U.S. soldiers. I don't know if all the tanks are there, but this is the bird's eye view of what we got. So we're going to go ahead and hit the K key as it is recommending. And just see what happens. I mean, if we come down, I want to get rid of that metric for a second or so. I want to see if I can kind of figure out where the tanks are. So we've got one tank. I don't even know if it's going to register all 3 of them based on where I put them, because we kind of done a poor job of, doing that research beforehand. So, it's here or there. The terrain is what makes this here game and this simulation so interesting. Because it's like there's lots of rocky areas that you would think shouldn't affect the overall storming of certain, the storming of certain areas. But then also you have the fact that the reload times for a lot of these weapon firing regiments aren't accurate. And also on top of that, the range is not correct either. So I did take and play out a couple of scenarios, and the shotgun ranges literally lead out to the 1,000 to 2,000 yard range. And if you don't know nothing about weapons, a shotgun buckshot round, just even a single pellet, if you're firing straight on, reaching out to that type of range, that is literally complete fantasy. It can't happen. You would have to take and point your shotgun up to the sky for them buckshot rounds to be reaching all the way back up into to that Afghanistan market range that it's reaching into right now. And that's not, you know, I love me a good 12 gauge shotgun, so I'm not crapping on it, but just, you know, be mindful if that's, if, you know, you're new to the game, if you're new to life, if you're new to physics. If you're new to physics, then, you know, you've got a lot to learn. So let's hit the C button right here and see. So what do we got? So we started out with the amount of guys we had, 300 and some thousand of the zombies, and we're coming down. So total kills. So we introduced the Sherman tanks, and that really has kind of stopped them. I think the biggest help to our troops here from defending this city, from defending whatever this thing is that a Sphinx? Yeah, so from defending the Sphinx here, the terrain is what's helping the most for sure. Because these zombies are having to take and filter in, and based on the way the algorithm for for these guys are set up, they can't really push these hills, and they're not filtering to the most efficient capacity around the rocky areas. So that is a little disheartening as far as, like, you know, fully figuring out how this is going to go. I hope that with this epic, the ultimate epic, like, I hate saying it every time, but the ultimate epic battle simulator 2, I really hope they'll make it to where you can construct your own cities, and then it'll be very, very interesting on the vast array of situations, battles, and characters that you can, you know, implement into a war zone. Because I know for sure between, like, mods and everything else, there's going to be so many opportunities. Let's take and just kind of zoom in to these soldiers, because I wanted to mix in, you know, the assault. There's not really any assault rifles. There's just the assault type soldiers that seem to have Thompsons. But between that and the shotguns, and once again, it's because there seems to be no unlimited range. It's just so interesting. You know, in general, this is what I would assume to be a god's temple, and if the zombies had any type of firing weapons, or, you know, God forbid, some tank support, they, you know, they'd probably win. Because, like, with this triangular setup, you know, just one tank could easily break a defense in one certain direction, and then them zombies could file in and you know, break up the back side of our soldiers here. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to zoom out, and I'm just going to take and watch, listen, observe, and see what happens. So here we go. We're coming in on the tail end of things. You know, I mentioned it before, but really something that kind of screwed up the whole dynamic of this battle is the fact that the zombies didn't really like filter around the like rock formations the way they should have, like in a realistic way, and I'm worried that some of them could potentially be getting stuck. Which, like, well, you know, now these guys right here in front of me, they're getting stuck. And then once again, if they do, there's not really much. I guess I could highlight them. Oh, hello. Still figuring out the formations, trying to get this goddamn microphone arm that I'm using. That's, anyways. Okay, so let's take and try to get. We got that, and then let's highlight these homosexual. Not that there's nothing wrong with these homosexual zombies. I'm just saying, you know. Let's go there. Or tried to. Jesus Christ. Let's just do that. I highlighted them. I give them a direction. And they ain't doing jack diddly, so let's bring them back a little bit. If they make it around this corner. Okay, well, they definitely can't make it around the corner because they're a bunch of retarded zombies. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take and just bring it up here. And we're going to R that, C that. And we have a winning city setup, regardless, because, you know, they was not able to take over the city with the zombie setup we had. So, I mean, we had a very, 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 very large zombie setup. All we done was, take and do a triangular, you know, defensive setup around what I'm assuming would be a, you know, a very religious monolith. Mostly, well, it was like an even divide between shotgun and assault soldiers with the Thompson machine gun. You know, once again, this is very inaccurate as far as the way the actual weapons function because of reload times, the range, and just the caliber of the ammunition and the way that, like, the soldiers' accuracy. Tons of fun, though, tons of fun, and I've got a lot of interesting battles planned that I want to do now that I'm getting a good idea of the, you know, like the way that the soldiers function. So, you know, stay tuned. I'm still going to be doing all my Call of Duty stuff, all of my zombie stuff. I'm just doing this for the funsies, and since I took and bought this game, I want to get my money's worth. And, yeah, guys, until the next one, adios.